here we are back again, my marvelous mathematicians. We're still working on fractions this week a little bit more. And so to start off with, we're going to do a fraction number line to warm us up. So you'll need paper, pencil, slate, marker, whatever you have handy. If you need to, pause the video, go get those things and come right back, okay? All right, so I need for you on your paper to make this number line. Don't worry too much about the fractions at the top. I just want you to make the number line starting at 0 and going to 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to work together to put these fractions in order from 0, from the smallest, to 1 being the biggest, and then half, 1/2 being in our indicator. All right. So we're taking a look at these. And if you look at my fractions that I have listed at the top, I have 1/4, 1/6, 7/8, and 2/3. Right, so those are a little bit tricky because the denominator, that decision maker on the bottom, none of them are the same. When our denominators are the same, it sure makes putting fractions in order a lot easier, but they're not. So let me show you how my math mind is working with this and how it works for me. So I looked right away and I see 1/4. And I'm going to place 1/4 first. And the reason I'm going to do 1/4 first is because whenever I hear 1/4, 1/2, I know that $1 can be divided into fourths and it can be divided into halves because I know that 4 quarters make $1. So if I have 1/4 of $1, I have 1/4. If I have 1/2 of $1, I have 2 quarters. So where would you put 1/4 compared to 1/2? Put it on your number line. And I'm going to put it on mine, and then we're going to check. Okay, check yours with mine. Look where I have 1/4. 1/4 is smaller than 1/2 because I know if I had 1/4, it'd be less than 2 quarters, which is a $1/2. All right. All right, so now I'm going to move to 1/6. The reason I'm going to go to 1/6 is because we learned that the bigger the denominator, the smaller the piece, remember? So if I had my favorite peanut butter pie and I was dividing it into 4, think how big those pieces would be. 1 pie divided into 4 equal pieces. But if I had that same pie and I divide it into 6, what happens to my pieces? My pieces have to get smaller, right? So 1/6 is less than or smaller than 1/4. Place it on your number line for me. I'm going to have to move my 1/4 to make a little bit of room here. Okay, so it should look like that. Next, I'm going to do 7/8. 7/8. Oh gosh, if this number line were divided into 8 equal parts, because the 8 is the decision maker, so it's 8 equal parts. If I was at 7/8, 7 out of 8s, I have almost the whole thing because 8/8 would be a whole thing, right? So if I have 7/8, where's 7/8 going to be? Put 7/8 on your number line. 7/8 right there, okay? So now all I have left is 2/3. 2/3 might be thought of as being kind of the trickiest. So I want for you to imagine dividing this number line now into thirds. All right, so I'm going to divide it into thirds. So here's 1/3, here's 2/3. So where's 2/3? 2/3 is more than 1/2. So those fractions are now in sequential order. They're in this from smallest to largest, okay? All right, so today as a mathematician, we're going to continue that fraction work, and we're going to be comparing one rectangle, same size rectangle, divided the same way, but we're having to indicate different amounts of the whole, all right? And then we're going to put them in order. All right, so the first one is 1/3. 1/3. So I look here and I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns and 3 rows. So this rectangle is also divided into thirds. It has 15 little itty bitty boxes, but it has 3 rows. Here's 1 row, here's 2 rows, here's 3 rows. 1 row out of 3. So 1/3 is 1 row out of 1, 2, 3 rows. That's 1/3 because it's 1 row out of 1, 2, and 3. 1/3. Got it? All right. Same rectangle. I still have 5 columns and 3 rows. This time I want to fill in 3/5. Well, the denominator, the decision maker, the fifths, the fives, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. How many columns? 3. 3 out of 5. So see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to fill in 3 out of 5. So 1/3, or excuse me, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. 3/5. 1, 2, 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now the last one I want us to look at is 7/15. Oh gosh, we have 3 rows. We have 5 columns, but this is 15ths. Well, look at this. 3 times 5, 3 groups of 5 is 15. There are 15 boxes in here. So this time I'm going to fill in 7 out of 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 15. All right, so we've taken the same rectangle, we've divided it into 3 different ways, but we can compare these fractions now. So now we're going to place them in order from smallest, 0, closest to 0, to 1. So 1/3, 3/5, 7/15. So in 1/3, how many of the boxes are filled in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 out of 15 are filled in. With 3/5, how many are divided? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 out of 15 were filled in. 7/15 are 7. Okay, so now we have to decide where these go. We can see which is the smallest and the largest. 1/3 is the smallest because we only have 5 boxes. 3/5 is the largest because we have 9 boxes. But we have to decide how close it is to 1 or to 0 or in the middle. So in the middle is half. So 15 doesn't divide in half because it's not even. It's not an even number. But I know that 14 is an even number. 14 is really close to 15. What's half of 14? Did you say 7? I hope so. 7. So 7-ish, 7 between 7 and a half, 7 and 8, so about 7.5 is halfway through. Look at this. 7/15 is pretty close to half. So we're going to put that right in the middle. 7/15. All right, so now we can look and see 3/5 is 9 is bigger than that 7/15, but how close to the 1 is it going to be? So remember, 1 here is going to be 15/15. It's going to have the whole thing because there's 15 boxes in here. So 9, is 9 closer to 7 or is 9 closer to 15? 9's closer to 7, isn't it? It's not too far. So we really don't want to put that 3/5 all the way up here. So 3/5 is just a little bit bigger than 7/15. Okay, and then 1/3. We have 5 boxes out of 15. Here's 7 boxes out of 15. So 1/3 is just going to be a little bit less than 7/15. All right. So today, as a mathematician, we continued our fraction work, putting fractions in order and dividing the same rectangle up in the same way, and then making fractions that went with them and then place them in order. Your assignment today is to go back into, I have a workbook page in there for you to take a look at, and then a answer sheet. Okay, so you're going to be doing some of the same work, comparing fractions, putting them in order, and filling in spots on a grid. All right, good job, guys. Off you go to work.